Hello, Hunter. How are you doing today? That's great. I'm doing good too. Yes, let's jump in. Welcome to our video on the history of the MPAA movie rating system. Today we will explore the evolution of the rating system, how it changed over time, and why it doesn't always work. Before we dive into the first topic, let's play a game. In this game, I will be showing you a series of photos. These photos will be pictures of movie props. Your goal is to decipher what film the prop is from. Sounds like fun. Let's dive in. Take it away in Real Life Hunter. Now that we have warmed up our brains, let's talk about the Motion Picture Association of America movie rating system. The rating system was implemented in 1968 in response to concerns about the level of violence and sex in movies. The system was created by the Motion Picture Association of America and was intended to help parents make informed decisions about the movies their children watched. The rating system initially had 4 categories: G for general audience, M for mature audiences, R for restricted, and X for adults only. However, the M category was later changed to GP, general audience, parental guidance suggested, and then to PG, parental guidance suggested. Today, the rating system has 5 categories: G, PG, PG-13, which is parent strongly cautioned, R, and NC-17. No one under 17 admitted. The system has evolved over time to reflect changes in society's attitude toward violence, sex, and other sensitive content. Let's take a closer look at each rating and what kind of content qualifies for each of them. The G rating is for general audiences and is suitable for all ages. Films in this category include Romeo and Juliet, The Lion King, and The Wizard of Oz. The PG rating is for parental guidance suggested and may contain some material that parents might find unsuitable for children. This category includes movies such as The Princess Bride, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and The Incredibles. The PG-13 rating is for parents strongly cautioned and may contain material that is inappropriate for children under 13. Films in this category include Titanic, Back to the Future, and most of the Marvel catalog. The R rating is for restricted and requires that children under 17 be accompanied by an adult. Films in this category include Ted, Pan's Labyrinth, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High, as well as many of the films in the horror genre. Finally, the NC-17 rating is for no one under 17 admitted and it indicates that the movie contains adult content that is not suitable for younger audiences. And while today we might not see very many movies in the NC-17 category, one that you've probably heard of is The Evil Dead, known for its undeniable horror. Before we dive into our next topic, let's play another game. This will be called Guess the Movie Score. You'll have 10 seconds to name that movie score. Be sure to get your answer in first, cause it's first come, first served. Alright, I'm passing it to you in Real Life Hunter. Good job leading that exercise, Hunter, but I think it's about time we move on. It looks like Bradley's starting to catch on to the fact that we're stalling for time. The rating system was always intended to keep children safe, but over time societal norms and values have evolved, and so have the standards for movie ratings. What might have been deemed appropriate for an early G or PG movie several decades ago may no longer be considered acceptable by modern audiences. This is why some movies that were once rated G or PG would now be rated PG-13 or R if they were released today. For example, the 1971 movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was rated G at the time of its release. However, there are several instances of violence and peril in the movie that might have led it to be rated PG-13 or even R by today's standards.
Squeezing. She has to be squeezed immediately before she explodes. Explodes? It's a fairly simple operation.
Similarly, the 1984 movie Gremlins was rated PG, but it features several scenes of violence and gore that might be considered too graphic for a PG rating today. These movies are just two examples of how changing societal norms and values have led to stricter movie ratings over time. On the other hand, despite being made to protect children, in its early years, the rating system was criticized for being too strict, with many movies receiving an X rating for containing explicit content. However, as time passed, the rating system became more lenient, and movies that would have previously received an X rating now receive an R rating. This can be especially seen in the horror genre, and while some may assume that the MPAA has become more lenient in recent years, The truth is that the organization has actually maintained relative, consistent standards. The MPAA still closely scrutinizes horror films with excessive violence, gore, and sexual content, but it has also recognized the artistic merit of many of these films. As a result, some movies that would have been rated NC-17 or X in the past are now able to receive an R rating with certain cuts or revisions. Ultimately, the MPAA's continued rating of horror films reflects its commitment to upholding standards while also recognizing the evolution of the genre. Interestingly, horror movies have often used the R and X ratings as marketing tools, with some movie posters advertising that the movie was too scary for younger audiences. For example, the 1974 movie The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was initially rated X, but after some edits, it was re-rated as R. The movie's producer used the X rating in their advertising campaign, suggesting that the movie was too gruesome for younger audiences. Finally, let's talk about how the PG and G ratings have become more restrictive over time. In recent years, movies that would have previously received a G or PG rating now receive a PG-13 rating. This trend has made it more challenging to create family-friendly movies that appeal to both children and adults. One example of this is 1977's Star Wars, which was originally rated PG. While it doesn't contain any explicit violence or sexual content, it does feature intense action and battle scenes that might be considered too intense for young children today. Additionally, the scene where Darth Vader chokes one of his generals using the Force could be seen as violent and potentially disturbing. These factors might lead to the movie being rated PG-13 if it were released today. Another example is the 1990 movie Home Alone, which was rated PG upon release. The movie contains scenes of slapstick violence with young protagonist Kevin McAllister setting up a variety of traps to thwart burglars. While the violence is played off for comedic effect, it still might seem as too intense for younger children today. Additionally, the movie contains some mild language and a scene where Kevin watches a gangster movie that features more explicit violence. These factors could lead to Home Alone being rated PG-13 if it were released today. Overall, as societal norms and values have changed, so too have standards for movie ratings. This has made movies harder for children and adults to watch together, as they have less overlap. Movies that were once deemed suitable for all ages may now be seen as too intense or inappropriate for young children, leading to stricter ratings. This is unfortunate for many family movies in the industry. It is important for parents and guardians to use movie ratings as a guide when making decisions about what movies are appropriate for the children. While it might be flawed at times, the MPAA rating system is doing its job. It's protecting kids from seeing content that they shouldn't see until they're older. And for that, it's respectable. And at the end of the day, it's appreciated. Anyways, in real life, Hunter, take the questions. I think we still have time left. If we don't, editing Hunter didn't do his job right.